sector, where it's running 3 to 4 times ahead of the average increase in cost of everything else. Healthcare has gotten out of sight. And there's no question about it. The only thing that is going to solve our problem here in the United States, and most Americans agree with it, the government is ignoring us when we state it, but it is single-payer health plan, or something similar to what you've got in Canada and in Britain and in France and all over Europe. And it's absolutely pitiful that we have the kind of system that we have here, and it obviously does not work for most Americans. And the problem is that even if you're insured, Rob, in this country, there is no guarantee that the actuaries are not going to stop you from getting the treatment that you require. Even there was a situation where they had a child whose brain was so sensitive that he had to wear a helmet, and that was supposed to protect him from dying if he accidentally hit his head. And the insurance companies refused to pay for the helmet, claiming that it was cosmetic. That's how ridiculous they get. So the only answer to our problem, Rob, is going to be a single-payer health plan. And we're not going to get it from the Obama administration. We're not going to get it. We probably won't see it for any time soon unless we just kick all the bums out to start from scratch. That's the only way it's going to happen. The medical industry has a stranglehold on our Congress, and nothing is ever going to come out of there that is not beneficial to that big business.
You know, Jay Leno came out with a line the other day, and I just loved it. He said, I took public transportation to work today. I drove a GM vehicle.
Yeah.
Since President...
I was just, as a matter of fact, I was just driving in an area that I have not driven in about a year, and it was called what we call Auto Row, and Auto Row is now vacant lot row.
Really?
Yeah, it's pitiful. The whole industry, we had a huge area here that is just completely devastated. And what's really sad about this is that they're not retooling to build energy-efficient cars. They're just still trying to, the clunker program worked, but of course anything that works has to be stopped, so they stopped that. They were buying clunkers. In other words, gas guzzlers. They were buying those up and allowing people to buy new cars and get a special rebate from the government to buy those new cars, and people just went for it.
Well, you know what? That was a pretty smart marketing idea, because here you've got the government that put all this money into the auto manufacturing. So they're sitting there one day in the White Office and they're saying, oh my God, how are we going to get our money back? And then I think somebody walked in and said, hey guys, I've got an idea. Why don't we spread some cash out there and we'll buy all the clunkers. Right. But what we'll do is we will get the inventory sold from the auto manufacturers that we've bailed out, so we're guaranteeing our own return of the loan.
My.
Like, come on, guys, for God's sake.
Yeah, well, it's really sad that this situation is happening, but the manufacturing is just going down the tubes in this country. I don't know how we're staying afloat. That's what's absolutely amazing about it. And they're applying the same policies. We have given, Rob, absolutely amazing, we have given, at this point, $13.6 trillion to the banks. Now, I've said this before. I don't know whether I've said it on your show, but here's what would happen if you put $13 trillion into the U.S. economy. We could pay off every single mortgage in the country, every single mortgage in the country. Plus, we could educate every child in the country and send them to a 4-year university. Plus, we could provide health care for every man, woman, and child in the country. And we'd have a surplus left over if we did that. But what has happened to it? It's gone, and we can't even find out where it's gone. They won't even tell us.
I sit here and I wonder during the day when I've got about a 30-second breather, we've talked, Pat, many times. We talked about the auto industry. We talked about the banking industry. We talked about the mortgage industry. Like, excuse me, President Obama, what are you doing? Like, excuse me, I was for this guy.
I was too.
And then all I'm seeing is that money is going out, and the citizens of the U.S., my good friends and neighbors, are not getting anything in return. Like the manufacturer, I think that was just pouring good money after bad when it came to the auto industry, especially since I don't hear anything about homeless people getting homes. I don't hear anything about the hungry getting fed. I don't hear anything about the sick getting cured.
It's going exactly the opposite way, Rob. What they're doing is they're cutting back services everywhere in this country. Everywhere. And I work, I have been working within the community for years. And
I was just going to mention that, yeah.
It's terrible what's happening. So, and especially here in California, they're cutting everything.
Pat,
of course, we have you know what our biggest growth industry in this state is?
Let me see. Arnold Schwarzenegger photographs?
No. He sold out all his Hummer photographs.
Oh, he did.
A long time ago. It is the prison industry here in the great state of California.
Well, that's right, because
it's
going into the private sector now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Let's see, who told me? Somebody told me that, I forget who it was. It was some talk show host. Bob Barker. It's Barker Industries that is providing all of the services to our prison industrial complex here in this country. Bob Barker, you remember him? The Price is Right?
Oh, you've got to be kidding. Has he been neutered or spayed yet?
Not yet.
No way.
But I'm telling you, that's the strangest combination I've ever heard. And, of course, we've got all these weird combinations. We've got the swine flu here in this country. It's a big thing. They're scaring the hell out of everybody around the world. And the number one vaccine for that is going to be Tamiflu.
Yep.
Now, you've heard the connection between Gilead Sciences and Tamiflu?
All right. Tell the Exo Nation. I just found this out yesterday.
Okay. Well, the patent for Tamiflu, which is being purchased in they can't make it fast enough, is the patent is held by Gilead Sciences. Now, they don't make the drug and they don't distribute it, but they get a 10% profit off of every pill that goes out the door. And it turns out that the major stockholder in Gilead Sciences is none other than our old friend, Donald Rumsfeld.
Now, why doesn't that surprise me, especially since he was the guy who got aspartame approved, and he was the head guy at Surly.
Thank you. And also, a Wall Street analyst said that this company, Gilead Sciences, is the single most well-connected industry in Wall Street. It has names so big that it would scare you that are on the board of directors and things like that. Donald Rumsfeld has seen a 5-fold increase just in the last year in his profits from that company.
Well, that's because he worked so hard and diligently when he was in office as the Secretary of Defense.
Right. Yeah. Well, he was working on some other stuff while he was doing that.
No,
but don't worry, he's richer than he was when he was Defense Secretary, and we presumed that would probably happen anyway, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Now, here's something interesting. I went to my doctor yesterday, Dr. Manuskas, a great friend of mine, and I was talking to him because I want to get the flu shot. He was telling me that every ounce of flu shot is being stockpiled by the government.
Absolutely. They're going to ration it to us.
Yep.
No, this is. I'm really worried about this because this is. There's so much this police state bootjack philosophy that we've seen from the Bush administration doesn't seem to be subsiding that much. And what I'm afraid is they're going to get out there and start forcing the issue. Now, the thing about this is that this is not a deadly disease. This is not killing people en masse more than any other flu would do. its track record, they classify it as a mild flu. And they're coming out with all these incredible prognostications about what's going to happen, and doom and gloom, and hundreds of thousands of people are going to end up in the hospital, and millions of Americans are going to get it, and so on and so forth. They tell us this, but then they turn right around and say, well, we're just trying to let you know what could happen.
Well, you see, I was able to track down exactly where they were getting their information from, the prognosticator themselves. I found out who it was.
Who was it, Rob?
Puxatawny Phil.
Really? Oh,
really?
He just won't go away.
He just won't go away.
Back. Yeah, well, they might as well get it from him, because certainly they're not getting it from the scientific community. I mean, everybody's getting on board with this, but the doctors are 100% behind it, because they're going to make tons of money off these vaccinations, so on and so forth. They're going to pull a scare on us, and it's going to. And as far as I can tell right now, it is already a full-blown false flag operation. There is no threat to the world from swine flu. This is a very, very weak strain, and doesn't kill near as many people as the standard flus that hit this world every year.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens the end of November, the beginning of December, when healthcare professionals are going to be ramping up for the increase of people who will be visiting medical centers throughout the United States and Canada and other parts of the world. One of the stories that you sent me is intriguing. A man on death row gets jail term for TV criticism. Wait, how can you get a jail term if you're on death row?
Well, you got to be in Saudi Arabia. This is a guy who's sitting on death row in Saudi Arabia. He's been charged. He's been there for 16 years for insulting the Prophet Muhammad, and he was sentenced this week to another 5 years in jail for criticizing the Saudi justice system.
So what do they do? Keep him alive for another 5 years and then execute him?
I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't get it. See, this is what's strange about it. They are, that is one of the most severe law systems in the world. If we knew what was going on over there, we would never consider that a civil place. That and many of the, including Afghanistan, some of the stuff that's coming out of Afghanistan will curl your hair about the laws they have. So they've got a very severe system, and they will get you if you even think about talking badly about the government or about the Prophet Muhammad or anything that they don't like. They're going to they're going to put you in jail and throw away the key, as they obviously have done with this guy. Yeah, but then to slap 5 years onto a death sentence, how do you do that?
The only way I can see it happening is if they, they say, all right, hold on, we're going to hold off of your death sentence for 5 years, and then after your 5 years is up, we're going to kill you. Yeah. Hey, Pat, you and I have to take our final break. Don't go away. Patrick Cooke is our special guest this hour. www.bibleufo.com and www.oraclepublish.com. Still to come on tonight's show, Andrea Stanfield is going to be joining me. We're going to be talking to Andrea about her book called Phony, How I Faked My Way Through Life by Prometheus Books. Isn't that funny? Isn't Cal Korff's books done by Prometheus as well? Coincidence? I think not. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
There's a family-friendly TV channel you can watch on the Internet direct from space with no subscription fee, and on a growing list of TV stations and cable systems. For information and how to watch free online, go to www.whitesprings.tv. To watch anywhere in the U.S., Canada, or Mexico, all you need is a small dish and digital receiver. Costs about $125. You own it outright and never pay a cent for our programming. Our movies are presented commercial-free. Between movies, we bring you cartoons, soundies, previews, and classic TV. Check our schedule and actually watch online at www.whitesprings.tv. New from the people who brought you Talkstar Radio. Tell your friends there's a new kind of TV, whitesprings.tv.
Are you getting tired of all the bad news? Well, then take a break from the worries of the world and play the love game. It's time to focus on